أعوذ بالله الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Before the break, we were talking about the importance of the board and the composition of the board and the reason why the board needs to be independent. Now, this last part of our lesson, we shall be talking about the shareholders and stakeholders because they are the most important people when it comes to corporate governance. Now, who are they? Shareholders and stakeholders represent the key parties with an interest in a corporation. So they always have an interest, this group of people. They always need something from the organization, the company, or the corporation. So shareholders are the owners of the company. This is very important. Shareholders, they are mulak. They are the owners of the company. Why? Because they have invested their money. They have their capital. They have their capital. They've injected their capital. Why? Because they need profits. So they are owners of the company. While stakeholders include all individuals or groups affected by or affecting the company's activity. So the other group, the stakeholders, these are groups of people who are either directly or indirectly affected by the decision, by the actions or the activities of the organization. So good corporate governance seeks to do what? Seeks to balance their rights, interests, and expectation. So because there are very many, the main objective of corporate governance is at least to try and make each one of them happy. We cannot make all of them happy. We cannot satisfy all their needs, but at least we need to balance and see, okay, who has the most interest? Who has the less interest? Who has the high expectation? Who has the low expectation? Who has more rights? So based on that, we can balance. Now, let us start with the shareholder rights and responsibilities. So when you are talking about the shareholders, and these are the musahimin. So the shareholders' rights and responsibility refer to the legal and ethical entitlement of shareholders. What is the meaning of legal? Legal basically means if you go to any country, there is the company law. And in the company law, it is clearly stated the rights which the shareholders need to get. And ethical entitlement of shareholders, along with their duties in ensuring effective corporate governance. So some of their rights are right to ownership, claim on company asset and profit. If I've invested in company A, I have a right on the asset. If the company gets profit, I need to be paid some dividends at the end of the year. Number two, right to vote. Participation in major decision, election of directors, mergers, ila ghairi dhalik. So I, as the shareholder, I have to be involved and engaged in making decision. Through what? Through voting. So the shareholders, they always vote. They can vote to elect the directors, or in case company A wants to merge with company B, they need to be consulted, they need to vote. Then right to information, they need to be given the information. Right to dividends, share in profits when declared. Dividends means, for example, if you have shares in company A, at the end of the year, if the company gets profit, you know, they have to give you something from that profit. That profit, we normally call it dividends for the shareholders. Then right for fair treatment. The protection of minority shareholders, they need to be protected. Now, their responsibilities include exercising voting rights responsibly. Yes, they have to vote, but they should not be bribed to vote. They have to monitor the management performance, supporting the long-term corporate objective. They need to support the organization to achieve its objective, and they need to act ethically and in the best interest of the company. Now, on to the next part, which is stakeholder theory and engagement. So, what does the stakeholder theory states? So, the stakeholder theory asserts that a corporation or a corporation should be managed in a way that balances the interests of all stakeholders, not just shareholders. Why? To achieve long-term sustainability. So this is the main idea of this theory. We have a lot of shareholders, we have a lot of stakeholders, they have their different interests and they have their different expectations. So what should we do? Let us try to balance their interests, their wants and expectations. And we have many stakeholders, employees, customers, suppliers, government, ila ghairi dhalik. There are very many. Now, number two, what is stakeholder engagement? Stakeholder engagement refers to the systematic process of number one, tahdid, identifying. Number two, communicating with. Then lastly, involving stakeholders in corporate decision making. So if these three things are not there, then you are not engaging the stakeholders in any way. So number one, you need to identify them and identify their needs, identify their expectations. Then number two, you have to be constantly at tawasul, constantly communicating with them. Then lastly, you need to involve them when making decisions through voting, through consultation, meetings, ila ghairi dhalik. Now, what is the importance of stakeholder engagement? What is the importance of engaging and involving the stakeholders in running the business? Number one, it enhances their trust and cooperation. They'll always cooperate. Why? Because we are engaging them. Number two, improve decision-making quality. كلما كان العدد كبير. If many people, if you do what? If you engage many stakeholders, what will happen? The quality of the decision is going to be very high. Unlike if you only engage a few of them, then the quality of the decision will not be that good. Then reduces conflicts and risk. If you don't want al-mashakil as-sira'at, the best thing you need to do is what? The best thing you need to do is to do what? Is to always engage, is to always meet with the stakeholders. Then it promotes social corporate responsibility and supports long-term value creation. Now, another point now, because we've been talking about trying to balance and manage stakeholder conflicts. But the question is, what is the meaning of managing stakeholder conflicts? So it refers to the processes and strategies used by management to do what? To identify, address, and balance competing interests among different stakeholders in a fair, ethical, and sustainable manner. We have many stakeholders. So we actually need to identify their issues, their problem. Then we need to address the problems. And also we have to balance competing interests. What is the meaning of competing? There is the stakeholder A needs this, stakeholder B needs something high, and so on and so forth. So the interests are always competing. Now, stakeholder conflicts arises when the expectation, goals, or interests of one stakeholder group differ from or oppose those of another. For example, shareholders may seek higher profits, while employees may demand better wages, or communities may expect environmental protection. So in one company, the shareholders, wow, they need profits. Now, the employees, they need better salary. if they need better salary, where is this better salary going to come from? We need to deduct from the profit. So there is an issue here. If they need salary, it means we need to take something from the profit. إلى غير ذلك. Now, effective management of these conflicts is essential for, number one, maintaining trust and cooperation, preventing dispute and reputational damage, and ensuring long organizational sustainability. Now, what are the management approaches to stakeholder conflicts? Like Mahia or Al Manhaj, what is the best methodology to deal with all these conflicts? Number one, stakeholder identification and prioritization. You identify tahdid wa tahdid awlawiyat. Who comes first? Who comes second? Who comes third? Number two, dialogue and communication. When you're talking about dialogue, al-hiwar, and communication, it should be open, maftu wal mustamir, open and continuous. Number three, balance all their interests. Try as much as possible to be fair in this activity. Then ethical decision making. When you are making any decision, remember yesterday we gave a model, the model of, for example, making a decision. You can use the rational, for example, model when you're making any decision. Negotiation and mediation. Negotiation is al-musawama. Is it negotiation is al-musawama? And mediation, I don't know the word in Arabic. So using negotiation, al-musawama, let us agree 50-50, 40-40, 60-40, or third party for mediation. If we cannot, the two of us, we cannot talk, then a third party can be called to come and resolve the disputes. Legal and regulatory compliance, we can resolve conflicts through going to the law, courts. The courts can decide. Then long-term orientation, we always have to focus on the long-term consequences rather than the short-term gains when resolving conflicts. So we should not be myopic. Myopic basically means we are being short-sighted. We should always be long-sighted. Now, lastly, is the stakeholder engagement strategies. Now, stakeholder engagement strategies are what? These are systematic approaches used by organizations to identify, communicate with, involve, and collaborate with stakeholders. Why? In order to build trust, manage expectations, and support sustainable decision making. Now, what are some of the stakeholder engagement strategies? So number one, we have what is known as mapping. Mapping is from the word map, mapping. So stakeholder mapping is the process of identifying and prioritizing stakeholders based on their influence, interest, and impact on the organization. For those who are doing project management, in project management, we have this topic called stakeholder engagement strategy. And during your free time, you can research more about the mapping. We have a grid. So in this grid, we have the interests vis-a-vis the impact. So vis-a-vis the influence and the interest. So some stakeholders, their influence is high, but their interest is low. For some stakeholders, their interest is high, but their influence is low. So you need to balance all this. Then number two, like we've said, dialogue should be regular and open. Number three, participation, mushawara. Okay, ما خاب من استشارة وشاورهم في الأمر. Before making any decision, consult. Partnership is all about being collaborative, being collaborative. Partnership means forming collaborative initiatives with stakeholders to achieve shared goals. Then our reporting should be transparent and it should be clear. Yeah, so in brief, that is the end of our lesson. So these are the important links. These are the important links. So if you want to get more information about corporate governance, so we have these videos. Some of these videos are in Arabic, some of them are in English. So during your free time, as you sleep, you can just review these videos. Okay, so that's the end of our lesson, and we shall meet next week. Next week now, we shall be talking about the what? The healthcare ethics. We shall talk about the healthcare ethics, the definition, the fundamentals, and we shall dig deeper into healthcare ethics. So yes, I'm going to send a link for the attendance. There are some students, they were sending a message to me in my inbox. They are saying that they did not take the attendance. So it means you did not attend the lesson. It means you are late. So it means you've missed 3 marks. So please, if I send the link in your group, take the minutes immediately, because after 5 minutes, I'm going to disable the link, because some students, they don't attend the lesson. They just wait for the link. They don't attend the lesson and they just, then I will prepare the lessons, the video. You will find it in my YouTube channel. So you'll just subscribe so that if I send the videos in the channel, you can easily know. So you should be following the channel. So ala kulli hal, let me share now the attendance in your group. Please, please make sure that you take the attendance immediately. Now, if you have any question, you can ask. If you have any lesson, if you have what? I have sent the link. Please just take the attendance. Because after 5 minutes, I'm going to disable the link. So take the attendance. We'll meet next week, inshallah. Okay, wassalam.